Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is the latest in my Rotten Tomatoes Got It Wrong for every year in the 2010s series. Today, we'll be discussing the year 2013. So, in this series, I am joined by a special guest to discuss each and every year for the decade of the 2010s, in which we will give 5 films we think were either overscored or underscored when it comes to the Rotten Tomatoes scores. And today I am joined by my good friend Ashleigh from The Movie Oracle. So, as we do here, I'm going to have Ashleigh kick us off with her 5 picks.
Hello LC Screen Talk subscribers, my name is Ashleigh and I run the YouTube channel The Movie Oracle. So the year Larry has given me is 2013. Turns out that was not a good film year for me. Most of what came out that year I still haven't seen, mostly because a lot of it didn't appeal to me, and what I did see I actually agreed with a lot with what was said regarding those movies. 2013 just wasn't a good personal year, so movies weren't a priority, so finding 5 with scores I didn't agree with was tricky, but doable. I don't agree with Rotten Tomatoes at the best of times. I think it's crap and I haven't forgiven it since I stole my identity and posted fake reviews under my name, but that's a different story. First 2013 film I've picked is A Haunted House, which is a found footage parody comedy film directed by Michael Tides and written by Marlon Wayans and Rick Alvarez, starring Marlon Wayans and Essence Atkins. It mostly parodies Paranormal Activity and The Devil Inside. This film has a 10% critic score, don't agree with that at all. First time I saw this film, I was laughing hysterically the entire time. I was even filming clips on my phone and posting it on Facebook as I was watching it in bed because I was cracking up so much I wanted to share it with the world. People said it wasn't funny. I disagree. I don't think the humor holds up on multiple views, but first time watching it, I loved it. The sequel is another story. The sequel is awful. Only the opening of the film is funny, and that's just because his dog dies in this crazy way and he's trying to give it mouth to mouth or screaming for someone to call 911 and say, "Tell them the dog is white." That's funny. Next I picked Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, a dark fantasy action horror film written and directed by Tommy Ricola. Stars Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton as the titular siblings who grow up to become witch exterminators for hire who have to go toe-to-toe with the evil Grand Witch played by Famke Janssen. It's taken a lot of years, but I found more people are discovering this film now and are really enjoying it. A lot of people didn't see it because they heard bad things about it and then didn't bother with it. Then years later they check it out and found out they loved it. I loved it, didn't know it was hated. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 15% critic score, which is insane. It's a period set film, but has a modern twist and really takes the characters in a unique and fun direction. It has action and mystery and magic. Some of the action in this film is awesome and really fun, and I love how there were layers to the story. I'm glad more people have taken notice of it as the years go by, but no way does this film deserve such a low rating. It's awesome. Next film I selected is VHS 2. This is a horror anthology film and a sequel to VHS. It comprises 5 found footage segments linked together by a framed narrative. So this has a 70% score on Rotten Tomatoes and I am stunned. I hated the first, but I hated this more, and don't get me started on the third one. There's always this setting that places all these videotapes in one location, but it never makes sense for all these random tapes of different occurrences, from the supernatural to aliens to homicidal murderers, to end up in this one location. Most of the shorts in this film are victim to what I find to be the #1 problem with found footage. People recording themselves doing something where no person would be recording. Some examples are going into a private room to have a private talk but taking a camera with them and recording it. Running from something or someone but taking the camera with them, which would weigh them down, and then recording themselves going, "Phew, glad I got out of there." And of course, things like 2 characters getting into a really personal and private fight and one person continues to record the whole thing for absolutely no reason. These things happen all the time, especially in the VHS series. And then since you have some actor recording everything, it's just constant shaky footage that isn't scary because I can't make out what the hell is going on because the image is so all over the place. I couldn't hate this film more if I tried, so no way do I think it deserves such a high score. While we're on the subject of anthologies, next film I selected was The ABCs of Death. I was shocked to find this only has a score of 37%. That's just depressing. The ABCs of Death restored my faith in horror anthology films, and the sequel is just as good. So how this film and the sequel work is that it contains 26 short films. Directors from around the world were given a letter of the alphabet. From that letter, they have to think of a word starting with that letter and then do a short film about death where that word is the theme of the short film. It was fascinating seeing just what these people came up with. We have animation, stop motion, found footage, black and white, illustration, normal film styles. So many different filming styles are used in this huge collaboration, and it is amazing seeing what crazy and creative themes and subjects these people were able to come up with. And then because these directors are from all over, some of the stories are foreign, so then we get to see how other countries will perceive certain subjects or how they might include their culture into the narrative. Overall, I found it fun and creative and interesting, and I can't believe it has such a low score. I have decided to leave the most shocking of my picks for last. My last pick, and I know I will get hate for this, is Frozen. Directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, with a screenplay by Lee from a story by Buck, Lee and Shane Morris, inspired by Christian Andersen's fairy tale The Snow Queen. I don't need to tell you what it's about because you'll already know. I can't stand this movie. Now, besides the fact my niece is wanting to watch and listen to it on a loop drove me mad, that's not why. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to animation, this film totally deserves the 90% score it has. But for everything else, no. The series of events don't make much sense to me. The parents are jerks in my opinion for what they do to Elsa after an accident that was not her fault but Anna's, and she didn't even get punished, not even grounded. Anna is written as this kind of airhead who is obsessed with love when she doesn't even know what it is or means. I mean, sure, it's great seeing her be tough and wanting to go in search of her sister, but she's so boy crazy, it's kind of offensive to me. Elsa is a terrible queen and role model. She's queen for 5 seconds, destroys her kingdom and runs away. It's nice and all that the sisters have a strong bond, but it took them like a decade to get there. Again, parents' fault. I just don't enjoy the story at all. I've seen films adapted from the original story and I've enjoyed them way more. They were also more faithful. The music, aside from 2 songs, I found to be the second most forgettable Disney soundtrack ever. Let It Go is amazing, and I'm a huge fan of Idina Menzel, have been for like a decade. And the first verse of Build a Snowman is also good, but aside from that, I don't remember the songs. And I don't care about the songs. With other Disney soundtracks in the past, I loved every single track. But as the years go by and we have new Disney soundtracks, I find most of them have maybe 1 or 2 good songs and the rest are just filler. So yeah, fantastic animation, but not loving the story, do not like the characters, and majority of the songs are forgettable. Sorry about it. And those are my 2013 movies that I think Rotten Tomatoes got wrong. I know at least one of them I'm outnumbered on. Thank you so much to Larry for asking me to come along and be part of this video. Thanks a lot for picking such a hard year, you shady bitch. But I really do appreciate getting to collab with him again, and I'm sure it won't be the last time. Hope you'll enjoy this video, and maybe I'll see you again in the future. Back to you, Larry, in the studio.
Thank you so much, Ashleigh, for coming on my channel and being a part of this series. Your friendship means so much to me here on YouTube, and I'm so glad we've had another opportunity to collaborate with one another. Plus, I happen to know Miss Ashleigh and her relationship with Rotten Tomatoes and her ability to pull out a good, unpopular opinion, so I just knew I had to have her for this series. So everyone, if you're not already, make sure that you head on over to the Movie Oracle and subscribe to her YouTube channel. And make sure that you're following her over on Twitter and on Instagram for even more amazing content. Of course, I'm going to have all of those links in the description down below. So 2013. Ooh, I think I have some spicy choices in here, y'all. I was not on the same page with the critics in a lot of films when it came to 2013. But we're going to kick things off with a movie I think was underscored when it came to the tomato meter. And for me, that was The Great Gatsby. The Baz Luhrmann adaptation of the classic novel only has a 48% on the tomato meter. Now, I know people have complaints with the new music that's played in the film or whatever, but it's just that to me. Whatever, because I actually love this movie. To be honest, I didn't make a top 10, but this would have been right on the cusp of making my top 10 movies of the year because I really, really liked this rendition. Now, the Great Gatsby book itself, I'm meh on. Baz Luhrmann was able to bring it to life with energy, with vigor. His cinematography style worked perfect for me. The big excess that he directs with was perfect for this storyline. I personally loved the soundtrack that they put together for this film and adore Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey, which this film gifted us. Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic, as he always is. Carey Mulligan is also wonderful in this movie, as is Tobey Maguire and Joel Edgerton. Everybody really does a great job. And I think the movie does a great job of getting down to the core messages of what the book is trying to say. So really, this is like the best I could have asked for a modern day rendition of The Great Gatsby, and I love it. This is one I regularly go back and visit. I just think that critics wanted a good old boring, dull rendition of a pretty good old boring, dull book. Now let's switch to an overrated film that I know many of you love and will vehemently disagree with me on. But I think American Hustle is overrated at 92%. I'm going to be honest, since the moment I saw it, since it was getting all the Oscar buzz and people were like really championing it for Best Picture and all these acting awards, I didn't get it. It's probably my least favorite O. Russell film. I just didn't care. It was loud. I found it lacked any sort of subtlety. It didn't really have nuance to it. The performances are fine, but even the costuming, the hair, all of the writing was just very brash. As I said, lacked any sort of depth and nuance that I was hoping for from the story of this like. The performances are great. I do think that O. Russell's great at just getting these wonderful performances out of his actors, probably because he's worked with them all a million times at this point. But I don't know, I wanted more. I wanted something deeper. And by the end, I was just kind of annoyed with the movie going experience. So I don't know if it deserves all the way rotten, but 92? No, not for me. The next overrated film of the year, in my opinion, was Spring Breakers, which actually was a little bit shocked to find has a 67% on the tomato meter. Why? This is a case of kind of just a morally bankrupt film that has pseudo intellectualism just all over the top of it. It's just covered in it. Thinks it's so deep. This is the kind of movie that I watch, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, it really thinks it's deep. It thinks it's saying some profound stuff. And really, it's just nonsense. Like, James Franco, I don't know what the hell this performance was. The girls here, like Selena Gomez and the rest, I said, I don't know. And the story also has no depth. It's another loud, in your face, really like bullhorned type of writing, type of directing that doesn't work at all for me. My favorite scene is James Franco talking about Britney Spears being a legend and every time being a masterpiece. But then he starts to butcher my girl. So putting her song in there was the best part of an otherwise baffling film. And I don't know how this has a 67%. So now let's hop back over to underscored films and talk about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which currently has a 51%. Now, not everything quite lands in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but I'm going to be honest, I also loved this film. This was one of those years where I legitimately loved the movies that I think were underrated. Because this one fully transported me. I was swept up. I really related in fun ways to the character of Walter Mitty. I think Ben Stiller was great in this role. Kristen Wiig was also really strong. The messages are wonderful and they're poignant. Unlike the last couple of films that I just mentioned, these messages I do think had more layers to them. It really swept me personally up into this dreamlike state and uplifted me and connected with me on a lot of different personal levels. So I think maybe that's why I love the film as much as I do and think it's gotten a much worse rap than it deserves. So Secret Life of Walter Mitty, only at a 51%, it definitely would be rated certified fresh in my book. Alright, and now my final choice. My final pick to set film Twitter ablaze is the overrated score of 80% for The Place Beyond the Pines. I know, right? I didn't like this film from the first time I saw it. I'm sorry, y'all. It didn't work for me. Now, I'm a pretty pessimistic person. I'm gonna be real. When I get on the camera, I try to like, woo, liven it up for y'all. But I see the glass half empty like 90% of the time. But this film was just such a downer. Such a slow downer. I'm gonna be honest. My mind couldn't really keep focused on what was going on because I just kind of kept getting distracted. The film just didn't keep my interest, unfortunately. We move at a really slow pace that is deliberately slow, clearly. But even upon rewatch of this film, trying to see what everybody else sees in it, I don't care about the characters. That's the main issue, is I don't care about any of these characters in this triangle of feats. We get to the end, and it could be a really powerful, moving moment and a big, powerful third act of a film, but I don't really care about their lives. I haven't really gained a connection, even though I spent this very long, slow time with them. That's where it just falls flat for me. The cinematography is okay. I don't think it's this wonder. Certainly, the score is actually solid. It's the most emotion the film has. And the performances are okay, but we've seen all of these actors, save maybe Ava Mendes, do much better, including Bradley Cooper over in American Hustle, I'll say that. But it was just void of any sort of emotional attachment, and thus I couldn't really care about the film. Yeah. So those are my picks for the films in 2013 that the tomato meter just got wrong, as well as Miss Ashleigh from the Movie Oracle and her picks for the most over and underscored films of the year. Again, make sure that you are going over to the Movie Oracle YouTube page and subscribing to her channel, and then hitting her up on Twitter and Instagram as well, hitting that like button all across the social media. And if you liked this video, make sure that you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos, including the weekly video uploaded for this series as we work our way through the decade. And don't forget to get involved in the conversation. Let us know, what did you think of Ashleigh and my picks for over and underrated films of 2013? And what movies do you think the tomato meter got wrong in the year? Let us know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit either one of us up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.